where the moon lights.
An excellent day for an exorcism.
I'm your number one fan.
Hey up and welcome back to the Rate Scary podcast. My name is Scary Zara Mary and I am your host. And if you are new to my channel, then what I do here is go through horror subgenre by subgenre, delving into specific films as part of that subgenre and analyze them, put them under a lens. And usually I have a guest with me. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Today is one of those days where I do have a guest. She's giggling already. She's a little bit nervous because she is very, very new to the world of horror. I have asked my little sister, Miss Molly Anna, to join me on today's episode. Say hello, Molly.
Hey up.
Hey up.
Hey up.
So, today we are going to be covering off the Saw franchise, and this is part of a delve into the torture porn subgenre. And Molly's got a Saw t-shirt on for any eagle-eyed viewers on YouTube. I also have a Saw t-shirt on. So we are ready to talk about the Saw franchise as a whole. And the reason why I asked Molly to come and join me, it's probably an odd choice on the face of things, because would you describe yourself as a horror fan?
Charming, that, innit? An odd choice. How rude.
But would you describe yourself as a horror fan, Molly?
No, I think I've always experienced horror through you, haven't I?
Yeah.
So, Paranormal Activity at Wakey Cineworld.
Yes, correct.
But it was because you started going to all your events last year, and I was kind of like, I wanted to support you, but I didn't know a lot about horror. So I thought, if I start watching horror films, then I can have an appreciation and talk to you about it and understand what you're going on about.
And you're still none the wiser.
Yeah, so basically I'm a horror noob.
You are a horror noob, but you're enjoying your little venture into horror.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it, actually.
Yeah, and the reason why I asked you to come on and talk about the Saw franchise is because I am a lover of Saw films, seen them numerous times, whereas you've just watched all of them for the very first time.
Yes.
How was that?
A task, given my concentration levels aren't the best.
She's an ADHD girly.
I'm an ADHD girly. It was good. I'm sure we'll get into it. Bit of a lull in between. I really got into it and loved it. Hyperfixation started after the first film, and then it was a bit of a dip, and then straight back up again.
Very good. We will definitely get into it. We will talk about each of the films. I am going to do a separate episode where I delve into the very first film with my very good friend Emily, the Jigsaw Killer, who is a Saw super fan. So we won't go into loads and loads of detail about each film. We're just going to have a general discussion about the franchise, about some of the key characters, how it fits into torture horror. I think this is an obvious one. And we'll also have a little bit of a discussion about the Saw traps and whether we fancy our chances, just based on, I have done a ranking recently in one of my episodes on torture scenes and how likely I think I could survive those scenes, endure them, and it did feature a few of the Saw traps, so I thought it would be quite fun if we went through. I think, have we got 30, Molly? I think we've got 30 traps to go through.
Yeah, there is 30.
That's going to be interesting.
We're going through each one?
We'll have a discussion about each one,
okay.
love. Yeah.
You have to give me a reminder on way through.
I will do, don't worry.
Okay, just give me a brief description and I'll yes or no it. They're all going to be no, because I just sit down.
You'd fold and just accept your fate. All right, well, we'll not do the ranking then.
Done. The episode there then. Right, lovely.
Lovely. Thank you for joining us. No. Oh dear, no, we will go through them. I think you'd be tougher than you're letting on, Molly. So
I think there's some that we'll probably disagree on. I know one of them we will do. We'll
see what you're made of. No. For anyone who has never watched any of the Saw films before, it all started, it's an American horror franchise created by James Wan and Lee Winnell, and it all started with Saw 1, which was released in 2004, so over 20 years now. It had its anniversary back in October of 2024. distributed by Lionsgate and produced by Twisted Pictures. And it consists of 10 feature films, one of which is more of a spin-off rather than it sitting as part of the main franchise. And if anyone has listened to my horror news on YouTube recently, you will know that Saw 11 is no more for this year, which is very, very sad news indeed. We don't know what's going to happen with the franchise, whether Lionsgate is going to sell it off to someone like Blumhouse, which is very likely given they've done that before with Halloween. So what the future of Saw looks like is a little bit unknown. But our most recent installment in the Saw franchise was Saw X, which came out in September of 2023. So we've waited 2 years for nothing, absolutely nothing. And it's very disappointing, which is why I thought it'd be good to talk about it. Give me a bit of an overview, Molly, as to why you decided to watch Saw. As you've been dipping your toe into horror, what made you think, do you know what, I'll start with Saw?
Because you told me to.
Fair, very fair.
No, that was the reason, because I said to you, oh, I want to start watching a few more horror films, and you kept saying to me, you need to get into, you'll really enjoy Saw, get into Saw, watch Saw, and I'm one of them people that I've not really seen all the classic films, have I? Like, you go on and for so many films that I've not seen, so I actually listened to you this time and thought, right,
Impressive.
It was a good one to start with. I mean, we've seen horror films before, but I'd never. You kept saying to me it's like the idea of like an escape room and stuff like that, and that's like right up my kind of street, like problem solving and
yeah, very
so that's
true.
why that was why I wanted to, I think, watch them.
Yeah, and I think that is probably where I was coming from because I think I gave you some recommendations of a few different horror films. I even created your own channel on my Shudder account for you.
Which I'm now signed up to by myself because I've enjoyed watching them so much.
Which is very impressive. So I appreciate that. And I was thinking about the fact that you definitely like crime kind of programs and films.
Yeah.
You are a bit of like, your brain definitely works in a very similar way to mine. So like that puzzle element, that mystery element, like a film with a twist in it. So it was all those sorts of things. I wasn't even thinking about the gore element, but I took you to a screening of In a Violent Nature, didn't I, in London?
Yes.
And you just giggled your way through that at the gore. So I thought, well, if you can cope with the gore scenes in a Violent Nature, then you can definitely cope with Saw. So all of those different things combined, I thought would be a good way for you to dip your toe into horror. And now you're venturing into other little elements.
I know. Coffee table last week, didn't I?
You did.
Laughed my way through that one.
Laughed your way through the coffee table. She's not traumatized. But yeah, and you've been to HorrorCon before.
I did. I went last year for the first time, didn't I? Again, it was kind of, you used to get really excited about it every year. So I was like, oh, well, I want to come and see what it's like about. So yeah, loved it.
And you're going again this year, and you're going to For the Love of Horror.
Yes, going to both, which is very exciting.
You're a convert now, that's
I know,
it.
I am. I really enjoy it, actually, yeah.
There you go. Well, and to be fair, like before we get into Saw, me and you did go to the cinema a number of times, like to go and see various different films. You mentioned Paranormal Activity and Wakey Cinema.
Wakey Cineworld.
We used to go every single year, every time they released a Paranormal Activity film. And you are the person that I have to thank for which film?
Woman in Black. That's
the
my
Woman
greatest
in Black.
achievement.
Yeah, Molly was the person who went to see The Woman in Black before I did and came and started raving about it to me and saying, you have to watch this. And I wasn't convinced, but I thought, you know what, I'll have another little cinema trip with my sister. And lo and behold, I shat myself numerous times watching that film. And it's become one of my favourites.
And what I recommended Saltburn to you as well last year.
You did, and I am obsessed with that film. There you go, you know my taste in films.
I do.
And I'm starting to get to know yours. You're cool with the Terrifier films as well.
Well, I've not seen 1 and 2, but I came to the cinema, didn't I, with you and Will to see Terrifier 3, but again I just laughed my way through that.
Yeah, gore just doesn't seem to be a thing with you. It's
you say that, but texting you one through, which we'll get onto, but through Saw X.
Tough times.
Well, I keep deciding to have my tea while I'm watching these films, which is probably not the best idea, but...
Right, well, that leads me quite nicely on to 2 questions I should have asked you at the top of this episode. The first one being, what have you had for your tea?
I haven't had no tea yet.
What are you having for your tea then?
Well, I think I'm going to have scampi.
Oh, nice, exotic.
Well, we do live 50 yards away from a chippy, so...
Oh, convenient.
And we've
Scampi
got nothing
and chips.
We've not done a food shop, so...
That's
Scampi and
fair.
salad with curry sauce. A weird one, but...
Look, if it works, it works.
It works, let me tell you, it works.
There we go then. No criticisms here, thank you.
No.
I love scampi. I tried to think what my US listeners are thinking, like, what is a scampi?
What
Do they have
is scampi, though?
scampi?
Does anyone in the UK know what scampi actually is?
No, and we don't need to know.
Yeah.
Right, my second question.
Yeah.
What is the film that scared you the most?
There's probably 2 that I can think of. Well, there's 2 that I can think of, but I've not actually watched them. So
I know
you'll
one
know
of them.
exactly. You'll know fucking one of them because it's your bloody responsibility. So one of them is The Exorcist, because you used to, when I was a child, given that I'm 6 years younger than you, and we first discovered computers, you used to go on Funny Junk and you used to go on that stupid bloody whatever it was, a maze or whatever it was, and Reagan used to flash up on the screen and scream at you. So I've never watched The Exorcist because I don't like it when you've got the t-shirt on. When we went to that escape room and you had that bloody t-shirt on, and I just can't, I've got PTSD from the face. So The Exorcist. And the other one, but it's actually through Scary Movie, is probably The Ring. But again, I've not actually seen The Ring, but I remember watching, I can't remember which Scary Movie it was, and thinking, bloody hell, that's really scary. I kind of want to stay away from that.
Oh, maybe we should have a little sleepover, Molly, and you can come and watch The Exorcist and The Ring back to back.
I've been more up for watching it now, and I think I'd want to watch The Exorcist with you because you just know so much about it. So you can just info dump on me while I'm watching it and almost distract me, I think.
And remove some of the fear from it for you. Yeah.
And I think because it's obviously like a really iconic horror film, so I think I should watch it. And given it's your favourite, I should watch it. So yeah, there are actually 2 that I've not seen. In terms of one that I have seen, when I were a child, I think Dad had to take me out to the screening of one of Star Wars films. So
Darth Maul appeared.
Yeah, I think it was, you know.
Right, well, don't watch Insidious then.
Okay.
No, we won't watch Insidious.
Right.
They've got a character that looks a bit like Darth Maul in there. Right, so if we did it for you,
leave that one on the shelf.
We'll swerve that one. Good. Well, thank you for sharing that. I knew it was going to be The Exorcist, just based on.
Fault.
I know. I even remember. I can't remember if I talked about this in my very first episode, but when I was younger, before the internet was really a thing, you used to have CD-ROMs of encyclopedias, and I was neurospicy and loved sharks. If you remember, I had posters and books and all sorts. Mm-hmm. So naturally, the first thing that I searched on the CD-ROM of Encyclopedia Britannica or whatever it was sharks. And up popped something called Jaws. And you could press play and there was a little clip. And it was the clip of when the shark comes out the water and he says, "We're going to need a bigger boat.
You're going to need a bigger boat."
And I was obsessed, and I must have pressed play on that a million times over. And I was probably 9 or 10. And I went, "Molly."
So how old would I have been, Zara?
3.
3. That says a lot about our relationship, because I'm like, "Oh, look at this good film, Woman in Black." You're like, "Come in and look at this fucking shark," when I'm 3 years old. It
was a loving action purely because I was fascinated and went, "This is amazing."
It's like pebbling, innit? That's what you were doing. You really love this thing, so you want to give it to me.
Here's my shark-shaped pebble for you, 3-year-old sister. Yeah.
Might as well have been a boulder and you threw it at my face.
Might as well have just launched you in the water with the sharks. You have some of that.
But do you know what, though? I would actually really like to go shark diving.
Have you seen Jaws?
No, I've still not watched it.
Right, maybe watch that first. Maybe watch that first. Anyway, we have digressed massively from The Exorcist to The Ring to
Scampi.
Jaws and Scampi. Yeah, that's where it all stemmed from. Let's get back into Saw. You've seen them all.
Yes.
If you had to pick a favourite, let's go 2 favourites, 2 least favourites out of the franchise.
Okay.
And why? What's your first favourite?
I think for me, it's more the emotional like attachment that I had to it. So I feel like I'm going to go for the first one.
Yeah.
Because it was all completely new to me.
Mm-hmm.
First one I'd seen, really enjoyed it. I loved the twist. I really liked some of the editing that was in there. I think it's when Amanda's in the reverse bear trap and it's like really she's like thrashing about and it's really like
Yes.
I loved that. Yeah, and I love anything with a good twist, and I completely didn't see that come in. So I think the first one, and I don't want it to be like recency bias, but I really liked Saw X, but it was because of how I think I winced at every single trap.
Yeah, that's fair.
I feel like with the other ones I would wince. So I think the rack, I can't remember what Saw that was in.
Yeah. 3.
I don't like anything to do with bones cracking, dislocation, anything like that. Yeah, so I think I'm going to go Saw X, and I really liked I liked the story, like the storyline behind Saw X of John Kramer trying to go and get treatment, and it all turned out to be a bit of a scam, and that's why he had them all in there. So yeah, I'd probably say Saw and Saw X.
Which is interesting because Saw X, although it's the 10th film in the franchise, it comes immediately after Saw. Yep. If you were going to play the films in film order, like story order. And like also picking up on what you said about the editing of Saw, because Saw itself as a film, it's not that gory.
No.
There's not an awful lot of gore in there. There isn't a massive amount of torture either. I think we have like 3 or 4 traps that we see in addition to the main bathroom scene. But it falls into the torture porn genre because I talked about it in my Introduction to Torture episode. It's that editing style that's really commonplace with torture films. So you'll probably enjoy a lot of the films that I'm going to talk about as part of this series, even though you haven't watched them yet. So like Hostel, very similar editing style, like that kind of juxtaposition of quick flashing images in those scary, intense moments is really common with torture films. And it's not always just about the torture. It's about like the style and the editing. I'm same as you. I've got such a love for the first one, which is why I've chosen it to talk about in a separate episode. I love Saw 2 as well.
I really like the twist in Saw 2. We keep talking about it, don't we? But again, like totally didn't see it coming.
And it's so obvious, like when he says like your son's in a safe place. And you're like, oh, fucking hell. Yeah, mugged off. But I love...
exactly how I felt, mugged off.
Yeah. Like, I can tell you, so you'll appreciate this. Most horror fans keep watching horror because they want that same feeling, that adrenaline rush of the first time they watched a film that really, really scared them. So like for me, it's The Exorcist. I remember that first time watching The Exorcist and being absolutely terrified. So now it's like a drug. I've got to find another film that is going to scare me that much. The Woman in Black was like that for me. And that was probably the last film that did that for me. With Saw, most Saw fans will say, I just need another film that's got a twist like that at the end. When that music goes, like, oh, and he's sitting up in the room and then it's game over. Oh, game over. God, like nothing will compare to that feeling of the music coming up and him sitting up and you going, oh shit, he's been there the whole time. But Saw 2 has a bit of that because of that twist at the end. Saw 3 also has a bit of that because of, you realise at the end of that it was Amanda's test all along.
Yeah.
And I've, over time, through rewatching Saw 3, gotten a lot of love for it. And then I think you and I both agreed that maybe then it goes off a little bit of a cliff, like a gradual cliff with Saw 4, and then really takes a nosedive. Like, how did you find those middle episodes, like 4, 5, 6, 7?
For me, I can't remember a lot of them. One of them, I've told you this before, but one of them, I fell asleep. I think it was Saw 5. I fell asleep at the end of it, like in the last 20 minutes. And I was watching it on Prime, and I woke up like, I don't know, like 40 minutes later or something. I'd just got this chair, so I was like, I dozed off. And another film was playing, but I still thought it was Saw 5. And it were a film called 5 Feet Apart, which is like, I don't really know what it is, but it's in it about some sort of medical centre for people with cystic fibrosis or something.
I've no idea.
I woke up, I still thought I was watching Saw 5. And it wasn't until I moved my mouse, I realised, oh God, like, it's, it's not. It's a different film. I liked Saw 6 because of the storyline of it being like, I like anything with sort of like with like morals and stuff like that. So the fact it was like employees from a medical insurance company,
Yeah.
I love that. I love that kind of storyline. I didn't like Spiral.
That is absolutely fair, and I think you are not in the minority with that, unfortunately.
I don't know why, but I said to you, like, I'm not the biggest fan of Chris Rock, and when I saw that he was, is it Zeke?
Yeah, Ezekiel.
I was quite turned off from that, and I missed basically like, not the gore, but I missed the traps, kind of.
Yeah, and with Spiral, you don't really get any sort of traps until later on, really. Like, I don't think it's a terrible film. I don't like how it fits as part of this franchise.
Yeah.
I think if that was a standalone film
Yep.
and had nothing to do with Saw, then it'd be pretty decent. But because they've tried to make it a tie-in with the rest of the franchise, that's where it falls apart a bit.
Yeah. Because it's such an outlier from the rest of the films. I feel like some of them in the middle as well. Is it Saw the Final Chapter? Is that the one with Bobby?
Yeah.
And I was like, so again, loved the storyline of him basically having written this book
a fraud,
about being fraud, being in being in the traps and stuff like that. But then, like, what happened to him?
I remember the text messages I was getting from you while you were watching it.
It finished, and I was like, "You're joking? They've all just died, and he's just sat there." Like, what happened to him? Like,
yeah.
I went on Reddit to be like, have I missed something here? And then there's like Reddit, like subreddits, like, what happened to Bobby, like in Saw? And I was like, okay, I'm not the only one.
No.
But I was just like, you're joking.
You're joking.
You're joking. It really annoyed me. And I think then that really, like, because that happened in 7, I was almost like, not pissed off, but I was a bit pissed off going into Jigsaw and Spiral, and I felt like I lost the love that I had at the beginning of when I watched the first one. I was like, oh my God, I absolutely love it. Yeah, I lost a lot of that towards the end. And then I think it was because I knew everybody else was saying, oh, like, Saw X is sort of really good, that I was like, okay, I'm going to persevere. And then I watched Saw X and loved it. Yeah.
Well, and it's like Saw 7, that 3D one, it came out in 2010, which is right at the end of the torture porn era. So like the 2000s was that era where there was so many different, like there was a Saw film every single year.
Yeah.
There were various different other films that came out. And due to Saw 7 or Saw 3D, they then just parked the franchise. And I don't think it was until 2017 that then Jigsaw came out. So 7 years later. Like, I'm a big fan of Jigsaw. I'm a Jigsaw truther. I think it's a fantastic film.
Yeah. I did enjoy it.
and then Spiral 2021. Terrible. We don't talk about Spiral too much.
Not a fan.
Good. Well, I think I'm with you. Like Saw 7 and Spiral for me are my two least favorites, I think. And like for some of the other ones that sit in the middle, they're not as strong. I really enjoy Saw 6 with the insurance kind of piece. Didn't enjoy it the first time I watched it because it just felt like another Saw film. But now that I've been back and watched it, and it's got one of my favourite scenes of John Kramer, where he's looking at the fish in the tank of the office of the insurance bloke, and he goes, "Piranha."
Piranha.
John.
And that's all he says. And I'm pretty sure, I don't know if my memory is failing me, but I think that's the one where we get a flashback scene of John Kramer to a younger John Kramer, but all they do is put a backwards hat on him to make him look younger. Yeah. Next time you need to look younger, just put a backwards cap on, a la John Kramer. It leads us quite nicely onto talking about the traps. So we're going to go through 30 different traps, and it's basically whether or not we would survive. So there's no ranking with this. This is a pure, yes, I would survive, and here's why, or no, I wouldn't survive, and here's why. And we'll go through them in film order. Okay. So we're going to start with Saw.
Yep.
I'm obviously going to start with the bathroom. So you are either Adam or Dr. Lawrence. We'll go with Dr. Lawrence in this scenario.
Yeah.
Do you think you would survive?
Sawing my foot off?
Yes.
Yes.
She's a diabetic, so it's always the loss
do
of
it sawing off. So.
Yeah, the loss of a foot is always a threat.
I've just accepted that's going to be a reality in about 40 years, so I might as well just get it lobbed off now.
There you go. Well, it would put you in an advantage if John Kramer ever came for you and tried to tie you up in a bathroom. Well, you go, bring it on, pal. I've got no ankles. Slippery dippery. Okay, so you think you'd get out then, based purely on being a diabetic?
I mean, because I have really crap circulation, I suppose. So that's what we're going with. Yes, I do think I would be able to get out.
That's fair. I think I would struggle with that one. Based purely on, it's not even based on watching that scene, it's based on watching 127 hours.
Oh, see, I've not seen that.
The guy cuts his arm off, and in the film, there's a scene where you can just tell that it's representing nerve pain as he's having to cut his way through the nerve, and that sends me funny. Absolutely funny. So I don't think I could do that. So you're surviving and I'm not. I'm Adam. All right. Well, another one from Saw is the razor wire maze. So we see a guy struggling to get through this maze on his hands and knees, filled with
barbed wire.
Yeah, but it's got razors on it as well, hasn't it?
Problem is, I'd feel one wire and then jump, and then I'd be on another.
On another, yeah. Which I think is what happened to him, isn't it? He got completely tangled.
Yeah. So I'd probably get tangled and all.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I just wouldn't move.
Yeah, in which case you buggered either way, aren't you?
What happened? What would happen? What was it that happened if he didn't move? Did he just have to get out?
I think so. Yeah. Otherwise, he's just stuck there.
Yeah. Well, I just kept being stuck there. You know.
Wither away.
Yeah. Waste away.
Well, I think I'd be the same. I don't care. Even if I'm shaving my legs and I get a little razor cut or something.
Yeah.
Nope. Not for me. All right. We're doing well. So flammable jelly in the first Saw. So he's got a candle and he's got a code on the wall and he's covered in flammable jelly.
See, if I think about burning in comparison to other situations, so I hate anything to do with water, being trapped in water. I've always said I would rather burn than
drown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you know what, right? I can't believe I'm going to say this. I caught my boob on the oven door the other day and it really fucking hurt, so I don't think I'd survive.
That's staying in.
I was
Fair.
like, do I say it? Do I not? And I was like, no.
Listen, fair. We've got to have some sort of real world experience to compare it to. If you burning your tit on the oven door, love, is your reason not to survive, then we'll go.
Fire. No.
All right, I'll make a note of that. Molly, no, oven door.
And the boob.
See, I think I'd be all right with that. I've got a pretty steady hand. I'm an ex-smoker. I've burnt myself God knows how many times.
Remember when you did it in Magaluf?
Oh.
Like Dynamo.
Dude, this podcast episode is a disaster because it's just turning into a Revelations podcast. So, for context, myself and Molly went on holiday to Magaluf for like a full-on partying week away. And we were in a bar outside and I didn't realise, but the table was absolutely covered in either vodka, tequila or sambuca, some sort of hard liquor. And I got it all over my hands. And we were outside because I wanted a cigarette because I smoked at the time. And I went to light the cigarette. And as I am covering my cigarette, I set my other hand on fire. And it literally, my entire hand was just on fire. And I just stared at it because it was the alcohol that was burning, not my hand. And both me and Molly just stared at it. And the people around us just stared at it. And I think they thought I was some kind of magician like Dynamo, like Molly says. So, yeah, always look before you leap. Check before you lie.
If I'm telling a personal story, then you've got to tell one as well, all right?
That's fair. All right, tit for tat.
Yeah, literally.
Well, so based on that then, yes, I would survive.
Yep.
So we're all good on that one. Good, I've got one in the bag. Right, this is the big one. Reverse bear trap, Amanda's test.
Back myself on this one.
Good. Why?
Because you're not doing anything to yourself, are you? You're doing it all on everyone else. So
yeah.
Yeah.
That would be my reasoning. There's no kind of like self-harm mutilation involved with this one. I mean, it's dead unfortunate for the fella on the floor, isn't it? With his question mark on his tummy.
Yeah.
But
win some, you lose some, don't you?
Needs must. And we see the bear trap go off later in the films on Jill, and that ain't pretty.
No.
So, yeah, I'd fancy my chances for that one. Okay. Saw 2 then. We've got the death mask. The death mask in Saw 2, we've got Michael. He's got this great big contraption around his neck, which could be described as an Iron Maiden mask. A so-called death mask. It's got 2 separate parts, one in front of his face, one at the back of his head. They've got various different spikes and nails on the inside of it. And once the game begins, the mask is going to close on him, so a snapshot, almost like a Venus flytrap, if he can't unlock it within 60 seconds. So it's kind of similar to Amanda's reverse bear trap. However, the difference with this is the key to that mask is implanted behind his right eye. In order to get it out, he's got to cut it out with a scalpel.
Nope.
No,
thank you.
No, absolutely not. Anything to do with... I'm cool with watching films where like people are messing with their eyes and stuff. But if I had to do something like that to myself, no chance. Okay, so we're both
and actually,
no.
The killing part of it, like if you didn't get the key out behind your eye, it's just quick, innit? So, do you know what I mean? It's just...
I love that you're thinking about like how quick and painless end of life is going to be in these situations.
I've told you, if I was in a zombie apocalypse,
apocalypse,
I'd just sit down.
You'd not bother. You'd just sit down.
Yeah. Well, I'm not exactly built like Paula Radcliffe. I'm had to run away. So I just sit down on the floor. For
and
those
accept
listening
your fate.
on Spotify, I am in fact built like Paula Radcliffe. For those on YouTube, mind your business.
Oh, God. You're coming on here again. I can tell you that now. Right, next trap from Saw 2. We've got Obi's trap, which is the furnace. So he's got to get in this great big furnace, and the whole house that they're in has got poisonous gas leaking in it. And inside the furnace are 2 antidotes hanging from chains. One he managed to remove. The second one, as he pulled it, slammed the door shut. And sets the furnace alight. And in order to actually get out of there, he's got to crawl through the fire to turn them off. What are you thinking with this one? This is another on fire one. Burn your boob on the oven door situation.
I probably wouldn't, to be honest. I don't cope with the heat very well. So yeah, it's a no from me. I'm not very good in heat, so.
Okay, similar to the flammable jelly one then.
Yeah.
I thought yes to flammable jelly, but that's based on me having a steady hand and thinking like I can write that code down in no time. Like I'm okay with that. This one, I won't want to burn my hair.
Imagine smell.
Exactly. I hate the smell of burning hair. So I think I'd be more concerned about burning my hair than I would be about actually getting out of there. So just end it for me. I'm done. I'm not getting out of that one.
Fair.
Right. One of my favourites.
Your favourite one.
Needle pit.
See, I think we would disagree on this one.
Go on.
And you know why?
Yeah,
already
I know.
Been mentioned. Type 1 diabetic. I have to deal with needles multiple times a day to give myself injections, and I don't know how many times I've put a needle in my bag and put my hand in the bag and caught my needle, and I've just been on the end of my finger. Like I feel like I'm used to the sensation of needles. I don't know what it'd be like, sort of
being lobbed in a pit of them.
Does and crawls through there, but I bat myself in that one. Because, yeah.
I'm in two minds. Like, if there was enough adrenaline running through me, like if I'd psyched myself up to do it, then yeah, I reckon I could. But Amanda gets thrown in by Xavier because it was meant to be his test, so she's got no mental prep for this situation. She's just got to crack on. I don't think I'd cope if I was in Amanda's shoes. The way that she's raking through them with her hands.
See, just. However, if I wasn't type 1, I would probably agree with you. Not for me, but
fair enough. All right, you're doing pretty well so far. Right, another one that I think is horrendous. Razor box. This is the one where there's an antidote in a glass box and there's 2 armholes. And I can't remember her name, but she, Addison, she puts her hands up through the holes. She initially puts one in and then fumbles around with the antidote, so puts her other hand in, but not realizing that those holes have razor blades in. So going into the hole is fine because the razor blade is going with your skin, but if you try and get your hand out, then your razor blade is going against the skin, and she just gets stuck there. No. What do you think? No.
No. I don't like anything to do with sort of
veins.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I would like to think like she's in a rush. She's obviously got this poison running through her body. Xavier's running around the house like a madman. And she's quite upset by the time she comes across this box. She's quite desperate. So she sees the antidote, doesn't she? But I'd like to think you've seen what's gone on so far. Use your brain, use your eyeballs. Like, don't just shove your hand in a mysterious box.
It's not so, though, is it? It's not the phone.
Right, well, I'm putting you down as a no for that one.
I'm a no for that one, definitely.
I'm backing myself with that one. I think I'd be smarter than her. So, right. Moving on to Saw 3, the classroom trap. So this is the one where the guy has got various different chains through the parts of his body. So back of the arms, the Achilles, his torso, and then one great big horrendous one which goes through his bottom jaw. And he's got a nail bomb in front of him and he needs to remove each of those chains before the nail bomb goes off. What we saying, Molly? No. Let the bomb go off.
What I'm doing with these as well is basically, what would I rather? Would I just rather nail bomb go off or actually try and survive it.
Look,
I
what
don't-
you're
one-
doing is,
Yeah.
can I be asked?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I'd survive it. 2, can I be asked? No, I'll have the nail bomb.
Do you know what?
It's the jaw thing. Do you know what? Everything else I could probably cope with. The jaw, no.
I'm the same. Well, the Achilles makes me feel a bit funny as well.
Oh, yeah, you said about that, didn't you?
Yeah. But either way, this whole trap is a no. I'm not doing it. I'd rather the bomb goes off as well. Ugh. Well, the next one is a bit of a trick one, really, and it's the angel trap. What we're thinking with this one, because there's no escaping it, as we know from Saw 3. It was a dud trap. But would you even attempt it? Would you put your hand in the acid to try and retrieve the key?
Is this the one where it's in a rib cage?
Yeah.
See, it's to do with bones again, so...
But let's assume that the trap works and you've got a chance of getting out of it. All you have to do is put your hand in that vat of acid and get the key and unlock yourself from the trap.
Yep.
Would you put your hand in that acid?
Yeah, I would.
Oh.
I've honestly, like, I know it's not the same, like spilling bleach and all sorts, but I feel like I'm so clumsy with like chemicals I shouldn't be clumsy with that I'm just like, well, just...
Yeah, but also sometimes when we have tea at the same time, I'll pass you a hot plate and you'll go mental.
Oh yeah,
over
no,
it.
I can't deal with hot plates. God no.
But dip your hand in acid, no problem.
Oh, yeah, crack on. I'd rather that than have my rib cage ripped open.
Fair.
No, anything. No.
Would I? I'd give it a go. Like if it's between,
try, wouldn't you?
Yeah, if it's between burning the skin and tissue off my fingers and having my rib cage ripped open, then yeah, I'd shove my hand in. It's just a disgusting one.
It's just a quick
dippy.
Dippy. Yeah.
Right, the next one from Saw 3, the last one we'll cover from Saw 3, shotgun collar. So this is the doctor that's got to keep John Kramer's heart rate stable, which includes while operating on him. So in this scenario, let's assume that we are doctors and that we are able to perform a form of brain surgery. The premise being that if his heart rate declines or if she moves out of range, then the shotguns in the collar go off, basically blasting her face open. Do you think you could survive? Bearing in mind you've got Amanda in the room as well.
I'd like to think I could.
I
feel like I was quite good at operation when I was a child.
Yeah, fair.
Similar.
Same thing.
Same but different.
No buzzer noise going off with this.
Buzz, shotgun.
Same.
I think it's difficult because there's potential, like, for it to not be in control, like, for you not to be in control. Like, what if his heart rate just dropped and you just fucked?
Yeah.
So, would I survive it? Yes, if I was in control of the whole thing, I feel like I would. However, do I think I would actually survive it based on the situation? No, because I feel like his heart rate is going to mess up and I'm just going to die.
I think I can only agree with you on that. Like, if you've got some, and I think that's probably the same for a lot of the saw traps, actually. I've tried to include most of these in this list where you have an element of control over it. Because there are a lot of saw traps, especially in like Saw 6, which we'll come on to, where you are in the hands of someone else completely. Yeah, waiting for your fate. Next one is the bedroom trap in Saw 4. The bedroom trap is where we've got a guy who is forced into a trap, and basically it's a bed and 4 large metal columns positioned at each corner of it. They've each got like these big heavy contraptions on it, and it's got a chain and a shackle on the end. So he gets into the shackles, and there's another metal device which is like a vice, which is positioned on the headboard, and it holds his head in place. And then basically on each side of the vice is a long miniature scythe. like the Grim Reaper's scythe, but small. And he's got a button that he can press. He's got 2 triggers, one for each scythe. And when the game begins, he's got 60 seconds to press both triggers, which are basically these scythes are going to gouge his eyes out. And if he doesn't complete it in time, the metal columns are going to fall off one by one and just pull him apart. What are we thinking? Gouge your eyes out or be pulled apart is the choice you've got to make.
I don't think I could do the eyes. It's the eyes again. I just don't think I could do it. But would I want to be pulled apart? Probably not. But no, I don't think I would survive this one.
No, I don't. Well, the only way I think you could survive it is if you just go bang and press both at the same time really quickly.
Yeah.
And just deal with it. Otherwise, if you've got to press it slightly, like don't do one and then the other. Otherwise, you're not going to do the other, and you might as well just get pulled apart.
When you get your ears pierced, isn't it? You know what's you get one done, and then you know what's coming.
An unusual comparison, but yeah. I wouldn't have wanted you in the room at the same time as me, advising me while I'm going through that trap. Oh, it's just the same as getting your ears pierced. Right, so I think we're both saying no on that one then. So we're not going to survive that. The next one that we've got is the spike trap. So we've got a couple, Morgan and Rex, and basically they are back to back and they've got huge metal spikes like shoved through the pair of them. So it might be through... so we can imagine you and I in this scenario, we're back to back and I might have a metal spike that's going through my right shoulder, but the angle that it's going through me means it comes through your heart. But I don't know that. So I might yank on one of the spikes and you might be going, fucking hell, no. Like that, some of the angles of this are horrendous. But you've got to pull out all of the spikes in order to survive. Are we doing it?
Would you actually survive after it, though? It's like a really rubbish kaplunk.
A really rubbish kaplunk. No marbles involved, though, is there?
No marbles.
Well,
would
so
you
you
survive after?
Well, this is the thing, because you've got so Morgan and Rex are the ones in the film. On Morgan, it only causes flesh wounds, which is what I mean. Like on me, it might just go through my right shoulder, but on you, on Rex in this situation, it's going through a major artery. But you've got to get out of it to survive. You've got to pull them out.
Probably not. I don't like the fact there's somebody else involved.
Yeah, I agree.
No.
Depend on yourself only, not someone else. I'm glad you've put loads of faith in me in this situation. She's like, no, I don't like someone else. My sister is involved.
No, I mean from my perspective, I don't mean from that perspective relying on you. I mean me having to do something that's going to affect somebody else.
Fair, okay. Fair, okay, all right. Well, I still think we're both a no on that one.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
We'd be too busy arguing.
Yeah.
The time had run out.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, we just chat about something.
We'd be like, ooh, bloody hell, this bloody spike's giving me jip. We're like, don't you start, it's going through my main artery. Right, last one of Saw 4. We've got, it's only a fairly brief scene, really. It's the knife chair. So Cecil is the victim of this. And basically, it's a wooden chair that's got 2 metal contraptions. On the armrests are blades to cut Cecil's wrists. To prevent him from standing up, both arms and legs are in shackles. And these shackles are connected by several metal bars. The central bar is in a vertical position and it's got a pressure plate attached to its upper end. The plate is positioned in front of his face and he's got like these knives pointing blade facing him, and he's got to basically push his face through the blades in order to release himself. So he's got to cut his face. John Kramer says to match the ugliness of his soul, otherwise he's going to bleed out from his wrists.
All of that makes me shudder.
You're not a fan.
I won't survive that one.
I think I'd be all right with that one.
Nice enough from me.
Again, like, I feel like you've just got to do it quick, like whoosh, shove your head through and deal with the consequences. You'd have some badass scars afterwards. It's better than bleeding out from the wrists, isn't it? I won't cope with that. I'm a bit weird about wrists.
I said I was a bit weird about wrists previously, but I'm also a bit weird about knives and faces, so...
We'll have to make a list of things we're both weird about.
It's a no from me.
You're a no, I'm a yes. Okay. Right, Saw 5 then. We've got the pendulum, which is our opening scene, the pendulum trap. So a guy is on his back, he's chained to a metal table, and he's got a pendulum that is swinging closer and closer to him.
I remember this one.
So to the right and left of him are two visors with pressure buttons, and to stop the pendulum, he has to insert both of his hands into the visors and activate them by pressing the buttons. So are you putting your hands in the vice, or are you allowing the pendulum to swing and cut you open?
Hands are going in the vices.
100%, yeah.
Yep. Definitely.
This guy was a loser. Like, come on, man. Like, I can deal with crushing stuff, I think, like, better than I can cutting.
Yeah.
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 So I'd fancy my chances. Okay, we're both getting out of that one. The next one from Saw 5 is the electric bathtub. This is where basically they've got to make a human connection. This is a bit of a complicated one, because this is where people are going from room to room, and there's like nail bombs in each room, and they've only got a certain amount of time to get out of the room. But with this one, the victims have got to close 5 circuits connected to the locks. 5 cords have to be connected to the water in the bathtub. What they don't realize is that they've got to basically have someone in the bathtub in order to complete the circuit. Because each person has got to hold a cable and suffer a small electric shock. Electricity freaks me out. Like,
I never knew that.
It really, really scares me. And I think it's because when I worked as a waitress, there was a plug socket and it was turned on, and I had a wet tea towel, and all I did was flick the tea towel, and the end of the tea towel went into the mains socket and electrocuted me and flung me backwards. And being electrocuted is one of the weirdest sensations ever. I hate it. I've been electrocuted a couple of times, and I think because you can't see electricity, but you can hear it sometimes, you can see it sometimes, rarely, only if it jumps. Sometimes you can even smell electricity. Like, I can smell electric sometimes, like I can hear electric sometimes, and it just freaks me out just because it's so powerful. And it makes me feel weird. So I'm a no for this one. What are you?
So would you be the person in the bathtub?
Yes.
I don't know, you know.
Yeah?
I'd give it a go.
You give it a go?
I always got to have a try, hadn't you, I suppose?
Well, see if you change your mind if you're ever electrocuted.
Yeah, I think that's the difference. So you've been electrocuted. I've not been electrocuted. So I think that's why I'm like, well, yeah, go on then.
But you've burned your boob on an oven door and I haven't.
Exactly.
So this is, life experience has to come into these answers.
It does.
Right, next one from Saw 5, the last one from Saw 5, and that is 10 pints of sacrifice. So basically we've got this table in the middle of the room, and there's a metal box which has got glass panes in it. There's 5 holes on each side of the box, and inside each of the holes is a circular saw blade. And basically to open the door, the victims have got to put their hands in the holes to shove their hands into the saws to fill the beaker that's in there with 10 pints of their own blood. 10 pints.
That's a lot. How many pints do you actually have in your body?
Is it like 8 pints? So it would require 5 from each of them, because we've only got 2 people left at this point. So it just shows, like, if they'd have helped everyone through these tasks, it wouldn't have been. Yeah.
I mean, even before the blood, it's a no from me because I don't like the unknown. So putting my hand in something and I've got no idea, no,
No, you're
hate
not
it.
having it.
Hate stuff like that.
So you tape the nail bomb instead
Yeah.
of the blade.
Yep.
Fair enough. You're a fan of the nail bombs
Bring
so
on the
far.
bomb.
Bring on the bomb. Dale Winton's. Oh no, he's dead, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Oh, awkward. Never mind. We're gonna revitalise. Bring on the wall. Hole in the wall. But bring on the bomb.
Bring on the bomb. Yeah.
I don't think I'd survive this. Like, have you ever given blood? You won't have, will you?
I'm not allowed to.
No. So I've given blood a good few times, and it always makes me feel a little bit lightheaded afterwards. Not in a fun way either.
No.
So, and that's just 1 pint.
Yeah. No.
So, never mind 5. I always had it was always quite nice giving blood though, because you get a little
biscuit.
You'd get a little orange juice and a little ginger nut biscuit afterwards. Yeah, that's the only reason I ever went. A free bicky. Oh, right, we are over halfway through, so we've only got a few more to go through, and we're coming on to Saw 6. So this is one of my preferred films. Pound of Flesh has been our next trap, which I think is an absolutely horrendous one. No. So this is where essentially you've got to give up a pound of flesh. So you've got 2 victims, Simone and Eddie. They're in a room divided by 2 segments. And basically there's a great big scale in between the segments. And there's a table with a knife and a meat cleaver. And they've got to cut flesh from themselves and place it on the scale. Like, this is disgusting. Like, I think it's Simone ends up just fully chopping her arm off and sticking it on the scale. Is that right?
I can't remember. I ain't got no flesh
Yeah.
so I'd have no chance in this one.
Paula Radcliffe over here.
Radcliffe. Paula Radcliffe.
Radcliffe.
Got no chance.
I'd just lob a tit off. That'd do it.
Yeah.
Sorted.
Job done.
Job done.
You
would
wear a bra then, would you? That'd be good.
No, true. Well, and you were perfectly willing to cut your leg off in
my foot off,
the first. Yeah. Just do that here. And cheap shoes, surely, if you've only got 1 foot. You don't need a pair. You can just have all the display models, can't you? Too right.
Right. In all seriousness, no, I would not.
Okay, you're a no for this one then. I'm a yes for this. I think I could do that.
Cut your flesh off.
I'd either chop a tit off or chop an arse cheek off or something like that. Easy. It's like free lipo, isn't it? It'd be doing me a favour. I could carve myself out some abs. Get rid of my love handles.
Maybe. I wonder if it would. I don't know.
Were you going to say, I wonder if it'd hurt? Yes. I mean, it would, but also adrenaline in that situation. Like, I think you have to factor that in. If you're going to die.
Bone, are you? So...
No, exactly. You're cutting through flesh.
Again, I'd give it a go.
Right, okay, so we're both down as a yes on this one.
Yeah.
Right, the next one is Steam Maze. So we've got Debbie. It's part of, these are all William Easton's trial. And basically this is in a boiler room. Debbie is chained to a wall and she's got a device strapped to her chest, which I think is like a gun pointing at her or a metal rod or something that's pointing underneath her jaw, and it'll go off if she doesn't get through this maze in time. She's got to rely on William Easton to direct her through the maze. But this is just like packed full of steam. So in this situation, we're Debbie. Rather than William Easton, because William's got to pull a lever to divert the steam away from Debbie, so onto himself. Do you think you'd make it through?
I think I'd make it through, but I bloody hate a steam burn, you know, when you burn the kettle and you lean over in it. It catches you.
Worst thing ever.
Worst. But I think I could get through it. It's
okay.
not fire.
No.
So,
Is steam worse though than fire?
I know. Because it's quite concentrated,
Wet.
isn't it? Wet.
Mm.
Yes, it is wet. Um. Oh, I don't know.
Are you giving it a go?
I'm giving it a go. I feel like I'm trying all of them.
Okay.
Well, maybe not, but I'm backing myself, you know.
Okay. Or we're both gonna just absolutely bomb it through the maze.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Yeah.
Right, okay. I'm with you on that one then. Right, the next one. This is a bit of a slippery one that I've included in here,
It
but
is.
I've included it because it is one of my favorite
Yeah.
traps in the entire franchise, and that is shotgun carousel. So, this is where we have got 6 people tied to a merry-go-round, and pointing at the merry-go-round is a shotgun. And in order to survive this situation, they have again got to rely on William Easton, which is the same for all of the traps in this film. And there's a button that he's got to press basically. Every time the carousel comes to a stop, William has to press both buttons at the same time to save the victim that's in front of the shotgun. And his hand is going to be pierced by a metal spike. And if he does that for long enough, the shotgun tilts into an upright position and goes off at the ceiling rather than at the person. If he doesn't press those buttons, then the shotgun will go off on the person. Only 2 people can survive this. The other 4 have to die. So if you put yourself in the shoes of a person on the merry-go-round and you've got William Easton in front of you, how are you fancying your chances at being able to convince him to spike his hand?
No.
No?
Again, it's almost one of them where I'm like, could I be asked to just take me?
Just
Sacrifice myself.
Oh no, I'm giving it a good go. Like, I've got nothing to lose in this situation. So either I can talk him into putting the spike through his hand or it goes off anyway. So
Yeah.
what is there to lose? So I'm going to give it a really good go.
True.
And
Yeah.
like in my job every single day, I don't talk about the specifics of my job, but I have to guide and counsel people every single day to do things that maybe I want them to do, but I don't want them to know that it's my idea. I want them to think that it's their idea.
So you'd be good at it. Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm rubbish
So-
at stuff like that.
I think I would be good in this situation. I think I could convince William Easton to save me, but make him think it was his idea. Yep.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't.
Okie dokie. Right, we're going to move on to Saw 3D now. And this is probably, this first trap that we're going to talk about is probably the most well-known trap from Saw 3D because it features Chester Bennington, R.I.P. Chester Bennington from Linkin Park. And this is the horsepower trap. So Chester is essentially glued to the driver's seat, naked, of a car. What's got to happen with this is the car is jacked up and the car is basically going to continue to speed up unless Evan tears himself away from the seat and pulls a lever attached to the motor. So he's got to rip himself from this superglued seat, essentially removing all of his skin in the process on his back. What are you thinking? Are you able to do that?
Yeah, I'd give it a go. Just do it quick. Get it over and done with. It's quite quick, isn't it? Rather than a...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just rip it.
Just rip it.
I'm the same. I think I could propel myself forward quick enough.
Yeah.
It's not going to be pleasant. Like, you're essentially removing all of the skin from your back and your ass cheeks, aren't you? But the alternative is getting smashed into a wall at God knows how many miles an hour. So, okay. The next one from Saw 3D is the lawnmower trap. So this is where we've got 2 victims. They are suspended in the air above a God knows how many lawnmowers that are pointing upwards. So their blades are rotating underneath them. And they've got to cling on to 2 identical levers hanging from the ceiling across from each other. In order for them to survive, the other ones got to let go off the lever and essentially sacrifice themselves, or you've got to kick them off. So it's like like in Gladiators where they've
I
got
was
the
about to
big
say
cotton wool
Gladiator.
buds. Yeah, you've got to shove the other person off. What are you thinking?
Imagine if it were me and you.
Fucked. We'd both be in the lawnmowers. What do you think? Well, go on then. That scenario. What's happening? We both know the answer.
Do we?
Yeah, buggered. 1, no upper body strength.
No upper body strength at
Number
all.
2, we'd just either laugh or argue and both fall into the pit of lawnmowers. So we're both a no for that one.
Yeah.
Right, good. The last one from Saw 3D. This is wisdom teeth combination. And this one freaks me out. So we've got Bobby as the victim of this, your favourite. This is the 5th part of his trial. And basically, to progress through his trial, he's got to find his way through a big door which has got a combination lock on it, and it requires a 4-digit combination, the numbers of which have been etched onto his upper wisdom teeth. So in order for him to see the numbers, he has got to remove his wisdom teeth. And there's a chart on the wall with the correct teeth that are marked so he knows which ones to pull. And he's got pliers in front of him.
Again, it's sort of bone related. That
Teeth.
texture and teeth and... No, I don't think so.
No. Anything to do with teeth, I'm not going to do. I've had teeth removed before, and I've been cool with you. You've had a tooth removed before, but you're numbed up and someone else is doing it.
No.
If I've got to do that on myself, no chance. No. Okay, right, we're fucked. We're doing well. Right, on to Jigsaw. So we are in the final stages now of our trap ranking. We've got the cycle trap. So this is essentially a great big blender that you've got to lower yourself into. Do you remember it?
I think so.
So the cycle trap, we've got Mitch, and he's dragged upside down above essentially a giant blender, which is powered by a motorcycle. So in order for that to stop, he's got to press the handbrake that's at the bottom of this blender to stop it going off. And he's going to be gradually lowered into the blender. So you can't touch the sides or anything. In this situation, I can't remember the girl's name, but she tries to basically dupe the trap by shoving a metal bar in it. That doesn't work. So there's no way of tricking the trap to get out of it. You've got to lower yourself into this cone blender and pull the handbrake. Are you fancying your chances with this?
I don't know, because it's, for me, it's like that whole one. You put in your...
Mm.
I'm not very good when you have to put your hand in something.
Mine's whether I've got a bra on or not.
Right.
So if I've got a bra on, then I'm all strapped in. There's no risk of anything flinging out and touching the sides. If I've not got a bra on, if Jigsaw's picked me up in pyjamas, there's no way. Like, just take me now, because something's gonna schlep onto the side of the wall and take me, and that's it. Especially if I'm hanging upside down, got no control over them.
No.
So I think we're both a no for that one, aren't we? Okay. The next one, and it's the only one that is from Spiral, just because, like we talked about at the beginning of the episode, there aren't really that many traps in Spiral. And I don't know if you'll even remember this, because I'm pretty sure you said you fell asleep while you were watching Spiral. So the hot wax trap, it's a large boiler full of hot wax and a table where you're restrained onto it. You've got a cloth over your face and a blade under your neck. So it's going to sever your spine, basically. The wax container has a pipe pointing at your face. And when it's activated, a valve in the boiler will open, allowing the hot wax to pour over your face, and the wax will then cool and harden, so suffocating you, essentially, if you fail. The only way to stop the wax is for you to force your neck onto the blade hard enough to sever your spine to stop it from coming out the pipe. This is making you have a physical reaction. What is going on?
It's because, it's like I said, I don't like anything to do with like drowning or suffocating.
Suffocation, yeah.
But at the same time, I don't like. Do you know what I mean? I've had a lumbar puncture. That were painful
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah, never
And-
mind severing your spine. No.
Oh, but I think I would genuinely take the spine over the hot wax. I don't think I could do
Really?
the wax. Anything to do with suffocation for me is just an absolute no.
I don't think I could do the spine. I think
Quick.
I think I'd rather suffocate than severing the spinal cord. No. End it. For me, this is a choice of how do I want to go.
But if you suffered your spine, if you severed your spinal cord, would you not paralyse yourself?
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Oh, I'd take that over suffocating.
No, I'd rather just go. Rather go. All right, so you're a yes, I'm a no.
Yeah, that's purely because suffocation is like the worst.
Oh, well, talking of the worst, that leads us quite nicely onto Saw X and what you described as the worst traps. So the final 5 traps we're going to talk about are all from Saw X because they are iconic. They've got really, really good traps.
Yeah.
Starting off first of all with the eye vacuum.
Yeah.
So you've got tubes attached to your eyeballs. Oh, this trap annoyed me because basically you've got 2 tubes attached to your face, 1 to each eyeball. You've got your right hand in a finger snap contraption. So basically, you've got to move a dial using your left hand, and that will snap each of your fingers in basically backwards on itself. And if you don't do that, then the vacuum's going to go off and suck your eyeballs out, which is what we see, even though it never actually plays out. So are you snapping your fingers or are you getting your eyeballs sucked out?
I don't. Again, bones. It's a no from me for this one. I know I've said things to do with eyes, but I think the things to do with eyes has been you having to do something yourself, like scouring your eye out or a blade or something. No, I can't. I hate anything to do with bones. So it's a. I'll sit there and have my eyes out.
I'm a yes on this. Like, I think I could do it because like I'm double jointed. Like, I can bend my fingers really far back. I think I could cope. Yeah, I think I could cope with that. And I just, instead of doing the dial one by one and doing each finger one by one, just woof.
Yeah, that is true.
Fling the dial around.
I don't know why he does that one by one.
Yeah.
Just get
all the fingers at once.
Yeah. Oh no, even then that makes me feel ill.
Right, so you're a no,
I'm a no
for the eye vacuum.
Take me eyes.
I'm a yes. What about if you've got pipe bombs strapped to your arms? So this pipe bomb trap, you've got pipe bombs attached to your hands. And well, you've got pipe bombs attached to your arms, and then sellotaped onto the ends of your hands are 2 blades. So essentially the only way of getting out of this is to cut the flesh that the pipe bombs are attached to remove them. So
I remember this. Is this when he was like a Wish Edward Scissorhands with just like one blade sticking out?
Correct.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah. I remember.
So you're either allowing pipe bombs to go off on your arms and losing your arms essentially, or you're using your finger blades to cut the pipe bombs out. Which are you doing?
I'll go with pipe bombs. Blow my arms off.
Really? You've got 3 minutes?
I don't care how long I've got.
Oh, right. Okay.
I could have 3 days. I ain't doing it.
3 business days.
3 working days. I'm still not getting it done.
Okay, fair enough. I didn't know if that would make a difference for you.
No.
I'm going for it. I'm using my finger blades, and I am getting them bad boys off.
No, I have my arms blown off, yeah.
All right, fair enough. You keep going for the bloody pipe bombs,
I know, it's a bit weird, isn't it? But it's the...
Instant.
It's the instant...
Okay.
Yeah, it's how quick it happens rather than sawing something out my arm.
There. That leads us quite nicely onto another of my favourite traps. This is Valentina's trap, the wire saw. So
Just end the call, end the recording now. It's finished. We don't need to talk about it.
I think, I talked about this on my torture ranking episode. I think this is one of the worst traps in the entire franchise. So poor Valentina has got a bone saw pointed at her neck, threatening to come close, basically to sever her head off, unless she uses a bone saw on her thigh to cut her thigh off entirely and then use this rod to insert into the stump to extract enough bone marrow to stop the device going off.
That's what I mean about the traps in Saw. It's like, you know, sawing your leg off isn't enough. You've got to then stick a rod in your bone to get the bone marrow out.
She's got 3 ounces she's got to pull out bone marrow. She's only got 3 minutes to do this. So to saw your leg off and to extract bone marrow, I wouldn't know what bone marrow looked like. No. It's
when she's like obviously sawn through it at first, and she's just literally doing that, isn't she?
Yeah.
Like it's
horrendous.
No, I'm a no for that one.
And that, I think, like where I've talked about adrenaline and get you through some of these things, like Valentina is the perfect example. Like the look on her face when she is sawing through her leg, that is pure aggression and adrenaline that is getting her through that.
Awful, isn't it? That
it's horrendous. I am not getting through that. I think we're both a no for that.
Yeah.
Right, 2 more. Brain surgery next. So we've got Matteo, poor Matteo. He's in a wheelchair and he's got a mask that's placed around him, which has got various different electrodes. And above him is a camera that shows the top of his head. And basically he plays a tape and it explains that he needs to extract a sample of cerebral tissue, so brain, and place it in the glass beaker in front of him, which will unlock the key and allow him to escape the trap. He's given 3 minutes to use the tools provided to perform brain surgery on himself. And if he doesn't complete it in time, the mask closes and the heat coils basically heat up and burn him, melt him. Are you extracting a piece of your brain?
No, thank you.
No.
But again, it's that piece of like, doesn't he have to do enough?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Like, how do you know which bit of your brain to remove? What if you remove a bit that controls motor function and then you fucked?
Exactly.
Like, and you can no longer use your arms or something.
No.
No. I know that's why it's designed like that on purpose, because he was part of the supposed fake brain surgery that John Kramer had. But there's no way I'm getting out of that. So we're both down as a no for that one. The very last one is radiation. So Gabriella, she's suspended in the air by a chain, one by her wrist, one by her ankle, and she has to use a hammer to smash at her wrist and her ankle to release herself from the chain. But the whole time she's got an external radiation therapy machine pointing right at her. So it is complete. Well, she's getting radiation poisoning. She's like melting. Are you getting out of this one?
Well, I thought when she was doing it initially that she was literally like smacking her shins. I didn't realise she was smacking the shackle that's like round her. So I'd give it a go.
So I think what she was doing was smashing at her wrist and at her ankle to break them so that then she can slip out of the trains.
Yeah, again, it's bones in it.
Bones in it.
Oh.
So you're a no for that.
No.
I think... I wouldn't want to be in that trap anyway, based on the radiation. Like, I've had friends who've had radiation therapy and described how horrendous it has been. But that just means I'd smash my wrist and my ankle sooner to get out of it. So I'm putting myself down as a yes for that one. Okay. We are coming to the end of this episode. The one thing that we haven't talked about is some of the key characters. So John Kramer being the main one, played by Tobin Bell. What's your thoughts on our Tobin,
Love him.
on John? We love John. Now, do you think he is a serial killer or not?
Well, no, because he doesn't technically. So again, does he technically kill them? No.
No.
Does he capture them, put them there?
Yes. Yes. I mean, he's a man with motive, isn't he?
Yeah.
So there's reason mostly. I mean, there's so many memes about like John Kramer. It does get a bit extreme. Like, I mean, poor Amanda in her very, very first test, she's a drug addict.
Yeah.
She needs help. Like, she doesn't need putting through a bloody trap, but never mind. Speaking of Amanda, Shawnee Smith, she was at last year's For the Love of Horror, Molly.
I know.
What's your thoughts on Amanda? She gets put through 3 tests.
Yeah, I really like Amanda. However, I didn't like her haircut in the last Saw. I don't know what happened.
Fair, yeah. It was a bit odd. I
was-
think it might have been a wig.
Yeah, it was just a bit strange, that were all.
I think that's absolutely fair.
That's my technical answer for do you like a character?
Whether you like her hair or not. All right, the third one that I want to ask you about, and then we will wrap up, is Detective Hoffman. Epic bad luck.
That's your favourite line, isn't it? Did you say that was from the credit scene in
Saw X? Yeah. Yeah.
I don't mind Hoffman. He's not my absolute favourite.
Costas Mandylor, he's an icon. The titties on that man. I love him. I love Hoffman. He's so like serious but unserious. Like I really hope that he's going to come back to a convention in the UK at some point, because I really regret not meeting him For the Love of Horror, and I would absolutely meet him if he came back. He just seems like an absolute nutbag. So who would be your favourite out of those 3? So you've got John, Amanda and Hoffman.
John, you know.
You're sticking with the OG?
Yeah, the OG.
Fair. I think I'd go Hoffman as my favourite. Yeah. Piranha. That can be your that's your John Kramer quote, Piranha. You're gonna have to go back and watch that now.
Which one was it in again?
6.
The medical insurance one.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Right. Any final thoughts on the Saw franchise as someone new that has watched it for the very first time? How long has it taken you to watch them, by the way? So all 10 films. I remember
when I started watching them. It was before Christmas, wasn't it?
Just before, yeah. So it's like 3 months. I want to say
it was maybe November I started.
Okay.
I'm definitely going to go back and watch Saw X. Really enjoyed.
Interesting, yeah.
Saw X. I started rewatching Saw last night. Do you know what really annoys me about Saw? I don't know what it is. I just don't like Dr. Gordon's voice.
Carrie Elwes.
I just didn't. I don't know what it was.
Especially at the end when he's like, sounds awful, but when he's dying and he's like talking like this. Like, speak up, man. Come on.
I'd like to try the ones in the middle again. Now I've seen all of them.
Yeah.
Because it felt like a bit of a slog in the middle. I think I would like to go back and try them.
Well, and I think the storyline gets a little bit complex through that middle section as well. Like 1, 2, 3 are pretty straightforward. And then after John Kramer dies, it gets a little bit mixed up as to who's running the show. Is it Hoffman? Like, obviously Amanda's out of the picture at this point. Is Jill involved? Like, where does Eric Matthews come into all of this? So I always lose my way a little bit with those middle films. So they tend to be the ones that I go back and rewatch most often.
Okay.
To try and remind myself of what's going on, which is why I've come to love Saw 6 so much, and like the Shotgun Carousel is because I've rewatched it that many times. So definitely worth doing.
I probably won't revisit Spiral. I've got no interest for Spiral.
Listen, I've watched it once, watched it twice. That's as many times as I need to watch it. Yeah. And you know that I am a physical media collector. I have every single Saw DVD except for Spiral.
Will you get Spiral or not, or is that a choice?
I am a completionist. So if I happen to see it for a quid in CEX, then yes, I would probably buy it. Yeah, Chaz the Shop purchase, then yes, I wouldn't go into HMV to buy it.
No,
so
fair.
yeah, if it happened to be there to complete the collection, then absolutely. Otherwise, I'm quite comfortable with my Saw physical media collection, and it can stay as is. Excellent. Well, thank you for joining me to talk all things Saw and whether we'd survive or not. Do you want to tell people where they can find you online if they've enjoyed listening to it and they want to see your Paula Radcliffe physique?
Miss Molliana on Instagram and TikTok.
Excellent. And what sort of stuff do you post on your socials?
Just cats, really, to be honest. Cats and food.
Cats and food.
Lots of salads.
Maybe at some point you'll start your own little horror account.
I don't know about that. Gaming. I post a lot of
Yes,
games
you do.
I'm playing and stuff like that on the PC or PlayStation. So, or usually, I don't know.
Well, and you will also find Molly from time to time on my socials when she joins me at the cinema, because you are coming to the cinema a lot more for different films.
Yeah.
Like we went to see Heart Eyes together.
We did. Smile 2.
We went to see them. Yeah, we went to see The Monkey.
Yes. Heretic as well. We saw.
Heretic.
Terrifier 3 we saw.
Exactly. So you've been coming and watching a lot more horror recently. And when Molly does come to the cinema with me, she joins in with Tuppy Tours. So you get to see Molly getting a tuppy out and showing us what's in the back of a cupboard.
Oh, can we not?
We're talking about sweets and popcorn here. So if you do want to come and see Molly, do go and follow her on her socials, Miss Molliana on Instagram and TikTok. And if you want to come and check me out on socials, you've got @RateScary on Instagram and YouTube, or @ScaryZaraMary on TikTok, Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads, and Letterboxd. But that is it for this week. I'm looking forward to getting stuck into some more episodes with Molly. She's absolutely coming back on the podcast. Right, Molly, do you want to help me say goodbye to the lovely watchers and listeners? Yes. 1, 2, 3. See thee with this scent. I'll see thee soon.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
I guess everyone's entitled to one good scare, huh?
I'll be right back.
Game over.
It's all for you.
Beware the moonlights.
An excellent day for an exorcism.
I'm your number one fan.